There's been certainly a great outpour of love because of the lives that she's touched, and she's really touched a lot of lives.
Remembering Faith Alexander and her daughter Amelia, both killed in a hit-and-run crash in Shreveport. Now at 6, we hear from the man who knew the 31-year-old's heart and soul, well-known pastor Bishop L. Lawrence Brandon. Plus, we take a look at the criminal history of the man accused of causing that deadly hit-and-run. Now at 6, KSLA investigates why, despite a host of past major drug and gun charges and even an attempted murder charge, why Terrence Dangerfield has spent so little time behind bars.
Well, it's pretty unusual for the FBI to be reaching out to a local community and telling them to lock their cars and especially their trucks, but here we are.
And the FBI is called in to investigate ATM break-ins all across the Arklatex, where the bad guys use stolen vehicles. Tonight, a stern warning to keep those vehicles locked up.
And it's a windy night across the Arklatex. I'll let you know in my first alert forecast when things are going to calm down. This is KSLA News 12 at 6.
Broadcasting live, KSLA News 12 starts now.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Warner. It has been a deadly day across the South, at least a dozen tornadoes. We're going to take you to some of that video in just a moment. Real quick, though, let's get our forecast with meteorologist Austin Evans. Austin?
Doug, we have a beautiful night brewing across the Arklatex, though it is windy out there. The wind advisory should have expired just about 45 seconds ago. A blurry night starting across downtown Shreveport. We'll just move on from there. 50 degrees in Shreveport, 43 in Texarkana, 40 in DeQueen, cooling off pretty quickly. As the cloud cover moves out of the region, we're going to see a pretty quick drop in temperature. And taking a look at wind speed and direction, this is sustained up to about 20 miles per hour in some places across the Arklatex. Tonight, we're going to be dropping down into the 30s for overnight lows. Going to see clear skies for the most part. That is a wind icon, and no, it's hard to see. Texarkana dropping to about 35, and yes, we are tracking some rain chances going into next week, Monday, along with Wednesday of next week. Details on that coming up in my first alert forecast.
And here's a look at that video. This is near Selma, Alabama. It was hit hard today. Again, close to a dozen tornadoes, if not more, across Kentucky and Alabama. Reports of at least 6 people dead. This video is a large one moving not too far from Selma. There have been reports of major damage in that area as well. Vehicles tossed around. This is looks to be downtown, part of old downtown Selma. You see massive destruction. We'll have much more on this throughout the newscast and, of course, tonight at 10 o'clock. Well, tonight we're learning more about the Shreveport mother and daughter killed in a hit-and-run crash and the man who police say caused that crash. KSLA Investigates is getting answers into the criminal history of Terrence Dangerfield, the man police say ran from that scene armed with a gun, and why he's faced so little time behind bars even after facing nearly a dozen different charges, from guns and drugs to attempted second-degree murder. Our investigation in a moment. But first, we're told by someone who knew the Alexander family well that 31-year-old Faith Alexander had just turned her life over to Christ, and not long before Tuesday's deadly crash, her 4-year-old daughter Amelia was also killed. Here's our first look at Faith and Amelia, a photo provided to us by the family. A family friend tells us they are strong in handling it as well as possible. The family's pastor, Bishop L. Lawrence Brandon, shared that Faith loved everyone and had recently dedicated her life to Christ.
She just loved life and contributed well, to life and to the land. And I'm just grateful to have known her and to have been a part of her life. There's been certainly a great outpour of love because of the lives that she's touched, and she's really touched a lot of lives. And I can see that now. It's evident now in her precious little one, baby, exploring the world, getting to know the world. So for this to happen at this time is certainly tragic.
Bishop Brandon shares that he's also close with the suspect's family and the suspect, Terrence Dangerfield. Well, tonight at 10, how he says he's helping them through this chaotic time as well. As for the suspect in that deadly crash, he was, again, seen running from the scene with a gun in his hand. After a day on the run, he was captured yesterday. Well, tonight we're getting answers into Terrence Dangerfield's past, namely the nearly dozen very serious charges against him in recent years, along with a host of dismissals and very little time spent behind bars. Here's Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron.
Tuesday night's fatal hit-and-run accident, taking the lives of a young mother and her little girl, is raising questions about the man police identified as the driver who fled the scene. 25-year-old Terrence Dangerfield is now under arrest.
2 felony counts of hit and run and 2 counts of negligent homicide.
But this tragic incident isn't Dangerfield's first run-in with the law. Searching Caddo Parish court records, KSLA uncovered Dangerfield getting arrested at least 5 times since 2015, facing 13 different charges, including indictments for resisting arrest, obstruction of justice, drugs, firearms, and attempted second-degree murder. But the office of District Attorney James Stewart dismissed 10 of the charges against Dangerfield in exchange for plea deals. Take a look. In February 2018, Dangerfield pled guilty to obstruction of justice and resisting arrest, and illegal use of weapons and attempted murder charges went away. Then, in August 2019, Dangerfield pled guilty to possession of marijuana, and a second drug charge got dropped. Finally, in June 2021, he pled guilty to illegally carrying a firearm while in possession of drugs, with another set of drug and weapon charges getting dismissed. Sentenced to 5 years hard labor, Dangerfield was no longer in prison 19 months later, this Tuesday night, when he allegedly ran from police, crashing and killing a mother and her child. We called the DA's office today to talk about Dangerfield's past cases, calling to see if I could get an interview with DA Stewart or one of his prosecutors, and have yet to hear back on our request for an interview. But this isn't the first time Stewart's office has faced questions about taking plea deals or dismissing charges against a defendant who went on to allegedly commit more crimes. In 2018, KSLA documented how the dismissal of drug charges against Jonathan Robinson,
I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna make you famous.
the so-called Facebook Live killer, let him free to kill his girlfriend during a violent 80-minute standoff with police. And more recently, KSLA reported how Elijah Williams escaped prosecution after several violent crime charges got dropped,
4 in all, including kidnapping, battery with a dangerous weapon,
only to get arrested last year on a charge of second-degree murder.
a man shot on Sunday in Shreveport has died.
Now, this fatal accident and Dangerfield's alleged involvement, once again raising the question of whether repeat offenders in Caddo Parish are too often set free and then commit more crimes.
That's Stacey Cameron reporting. You can read more on this investigation in our previous KSLA Investigates reports right now on the KSLA app. Well, happening now, an active police scene in Shreveport right across from Centenary College. SPD investigating the death of an elderly man found inside his Shreveport home on Washington Street. They've told us they're calling this death suspicious. Police have released few details, but they did tell us a relative made that discovery around noon today. We'll update you when we learn more here on air and on the app. Well, the city of Shreveport and leaders inherit a violent crime problem from 2022 that's not showing any signs of letting up. The Caddo Parish Sheriff is singing a completely different tune. He told us today crime in the parish has decreased for the last 20 years, and 2022 was no exception. Take a look at how much each type of crime has decreased. Caddo Parish Sheriff Steve Prater proud of the improvement. He says some of it comes from helping citizens better prepare themselves for crime by taking necessary precautions, including better home security.
There's so many different factors that go into it. We can tell you what we're trying to do in the law enforcement, but we also try to figure out how to be better partners, or the best partners we can with the community, so that we can teach them how to be harder targets. In other words, to lock their vehicles at night, to put lights up at night, have motion detector lights, have cameras.
He also believes deputies building relationships with the community builds trust so that neighbors who see something will actually say something. Well, after 2 days of searching for a missing man, the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office has now called off that search. We're told that person, 22-year-old Micah Roberts, last seen yesterday morning around 1 a.m., walked away from a family home. Sheriff's Department says they were first told a few hours later around 8. For the last 2 days, they've had canines and air support, help from multiple agencies on both sides of the state line, but they've discovered few leads to where Micah could be after leaving home without shoes and into the deep woods southwest of Vivian.
We did find a footprint. It was right by his house. I'm assuming, we don't know exactly if it was his or not. That was the only evidence that we have at the time. He had his shoes. He left his shoes there, so we were told he's barefooted. So that's, but other than that, we don't have anything else to go on.
And as of right now, it's still not clear why the sheriff's office called that search off just before sundown. New at 6, an update on a murder case with a man charged with killing 2 others at a local nightclub. Today, a judge found Travarius Winslow guilty of manslaughter. He's the man convicted of killing Legarius Baines and Chasman Walters outside of a Shreveport nightclub in 2019. It's not clear, though, when he'll return to court to be sentenced. Senator John Kennedy announced over $17 million in additional FEMA funding for Louisiana's recovery from Hurricanes Laura and Ida. Over $7 million of that earmarked for projects in southwest Louisiana. The Calcasieu Parish School Board will receive over $6 million for repairs. That's basically the Lake Charles area, LeBlanc Middle School and Sulphur, over $1.3 million to fund building repairs at McNeese State University. All of those areas hit very hard, both campuses heavily damaged during Hurricane Laura. Well, the FBI has issued an alert to residents in our area they hope will slow down the thefts of automatic teller machines. Dominic Ben has more.
FBI. Many of these thefts are occurring in the early morning hours between 3 and 5 a.m.
Over the past 3 years, scenes like this have become all too common in our area. Someone attempting to break into an ATM. Connor Hagan is with the FBI and said since January of 2020, there have been over 50 incidents of vehicles stolen and used in connection with ATM theft attempts throughout southwest Arkansas and northeast Texas.
Over 90% of the trucks that were stolen and believed to be used in furtherance of these ATM thefts were stolen out of Miller County in Arkansas and Bowie County in Texas.
Hagan said now the FBI is alerting area residents to keep vehicle doors locked at all times.
But especially if you're in southwest Arkansas, this is the FBI putting you on notice. Please lock your truck. Take the keys out of the truck. Make your truck or vehicle a hard target to steal.
This past Monday night, there were 2 such attempts in Texarkana, Arkansas and Texarkana, Texas. Police sent out this release trying to identify the suspects and truck used, which they believe is stolen.
At least of the ones that we've arrested, those have all been from people from out of town coming in. A lot of them are coming in up from Houston area, but it doesn't seem to be people in this area that are doing it.
According to Hagan, FBI agents are continuing to work on the increased ATM thefts, but they will need the public's help to identify the person or groups committing the crimes.
Well, it's pretty unusual for the FBI to be reaching out to a local community and telling them to lock their cars and especially their trucks, but here we are.
Dominic Ben, KSLA News 12.
Well, most of Arkansas's 2.5 million drivers are running into issues renewing their car tags for the year. It's because of that cyber attack months ago. Normally, when renewing vehicle registration online, the Department of Finance and Administration automatically pulls a person's assessment and property tax information from a county website to verify you've paid. Well, at the moment, that's not an option.
January is our busiest month for assessing motor vehicles. People call us back and say, you say I've been assessed, but the state says I haven't. And we're like, but you absolutely have.
To acquire an override, DFA officials say to call the help desk number or send them that email. I'm sure that's just a Google away. Once the message is read or the call is answered, the issue should be resolved within 30 minutes. New at 6, it's official. The Caddo Commission has filled the District 8 seat for now. Just minutes ago, we learned Ronald Cothran will be the interim commissioner for District 8. He fills the seat vacated by Jim Talaferro, who was elected to the Shreveport City Council last November. Cothran will hold that seat until a general election this fall. That election is slated for October 14th. As the new semester begins for many educators and students in both Caddo and Bossier parishes, some are without school supplies. KSLA-TV and the Bossier Chamber of Commerce hosting a school supply drive for Bossier schools to help those teachers finish off in a successful way. They're asking for items like pencils, folders, and paper towels.
The generation coming up from us now, so we can also debate on using them for resources and stuff, so we can pass down stuff to them.
And you can donate tomorrow at KSLA-TV. The Bossier City location off Airline Drive starts at 11 a.m.
Looking ahead to your weekend, we're going to be starting off a little cool with highs in the upper 50s on Saturday, upper 60s on Sunday. I'll have details coming up right after the break.
And move over, Mars. NASA touting a new discovery that is potentially habitable for life. It'd take you forever to get there. We'll detail it.
Now, KSLA First Alert Weather with meteorologist Austin Evans.
Welcome back and happy Thursday evening. A real nice night is forming across the Arklatex, though. Yes, it is still windy out there. That wind advisory has expired, but it's going to be windy through the overnight hours. This time the wind out of the northwest rather than the south like it was yesterday. We are in the 50s and 40s across the board here in the Arklatex. 40 degrees in Queen, likely to drop into the 30s here in just a little bit. And over the next few hours, we're seeing clear skies for the most part across the region, and we're going to continue to see a drop into the low 40s by midnight. Dreary, and we're looking at lows overnight in the 30s. Rain chances are on the way. We're looking at Monday for a minor chance for some rain, but Wednesday, that is what we're looking at for our next weather maker. Matt gave you the first alert on it this morning. We're looking at this system moving in for Wednesday or Thursday. Still a lot of uncertainty in the air with it, but we are looking at the potential for some widespread thunderstorms, and there is a greater severe risk associated with this system. Long-range future track showing cloud cover over the region Tuesday afternoon, and we start right off the bat Wednesday morning with widespread heavy rain, some thunderstorms being picked up, or at least the thunderstorm-like signature being picked up on long-range future track. Continuing into the noon hour, as you can see here, widespread heavy rain and even holding on into 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock Wednesday afternoon and evening. We will continue to watch this system as we get closer to it and give you the first alert to any details you need to know. If you do like doing any star peeping or planet gazing, temperatures are going to be down into the mid-40s by 11 o'clock, so you'll need that jacket. If you do go out and do look up at the sky, it will be clear, so you shouldn't have anything in the way. We're seeing the cloud cover move out, and we're going to see it pretty much completely gone by that 11 o'clock hour. High-res future track showing a nice clear night across the Arklatex. Looking ahead to your Friday morning, starting off with plenty of sunshine. It is going to be a very nice day tomorrow, but it will be a bit cool with highs in the mid-50s going into the noon hour. Still nothing happening that is going to affect any sort of travel or really any of your plans for Friday the 13th. And we have a nice clear night ahead for Friday night. Looking ahead to Saturday, staying sunny, but we'll start to warm up on Saturday. We'll start to see a little bit of increased cloud cover going into Saturday night. It's going to be a nice couple of days, but we are on a warming trend that will start on Saturday. Highs in the upper 60s expected on Sunday. Minor rain chance on Monday with highs in the mid-70s, and then we warm up even more into the upper 70s going into Tuesday, and we're keeping an eye on Wednesday for those thunderstorm chances for our next weather maker. We'll keep a close eye on it.
All right. What are you doing the next million or so years?
Probably this.
Okay. We were having one of these nerd chats about planets, and because I get fascinated when the scientists say, hey, we found another Earth-like planet somewhere, but then you find out short of a wormhole, you're not going to get there anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the main issue amongst a whole lot of other ones.
Well, here's the latest. This is an illustration, obviously, of an exoplanet the space agency is calling TOI 700E. The E represents the planet, like the fourth planet in that system. It's about the size of Earth and about 100 light years away. I think that equals like million-something years. They say it is the fourth planet orbiting a small star's habitable zone, potentially has liquid water on its surface, which could also suggest the potential for life on that planet. And imagine if everybody there just got along. But it would take just a hot minute to get there. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. The combination of winter weather and cold and flu season wreaking havoc on blood supplies across the U.S. Mandy Gaither has more.
Every time the temperature dips, so does the number of people who donate blood, but the need remains the same.
We have already experienced widespread cancellations of blood drives because of the recent winter weather.
Dr. Bialaski with the American Red Cross says without those blood drives, they've lost the chance to get more than 10,000 units of blood. Still, 1 out of every 7 hospitalized patients will need a transfusion.
It really crosses the spectrum of every type of patient population who are absolutely dependent on blood and platelet transfusions for survival.
To avoid a blood shortage, the Red Cross is urging those who are eligible to roll up their sleeves.
We are always in need of O negative, which is the universal blood type, and O positive, which is nearly universal. We absolutely will welcome anybody who can come in to donate.
Even if you've recently gotten vaccinated, Lasky says there's no waiting period. You can donate anytime as long as you're healthy and feeling well.
About 40% of the population is eligible to donate, and only 3% do. So we're really asking people to come out, make an appointment to donate so that we can keep the supply strong.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Of course, in our area here, you can reach out to any LifeShare blood center in Shreveport, Bossier City, or Texarkana to make an appointment, and I'm sure they'd love to see you. The cancer death rate in the U.S. has dropped 33% in the past 30 years. That's according to a new report from the American Cancer Society. It cites advances in treatment, early detection, and a decrease in smoking as reasons for the lower death rate. The report says roughly 3.8 million deaths were preventable. You know, back in the day, teachers used to just have to worry about students plagiarizing essays and cheating the old-fashioned way, but now new technology has made it easier for those students to cheat and created a whole new battle for those teachers. And ahead, North Texas will soon be home to a new theme park. Somebody was in my ear about this morning already. We'll show it to you straight ahead.
And now, it's time for KSLA Sports from the Todd Shores McClarty Ford Sports Desk.
Welcome to Florine High School. This is a treat not only for me but everyone, because with me is Bruce Williams. No one scored more points here in the state. No one has scored when it comes to field goals. No one has put the ball in the basket more times. No one has more rebounds. So, Bruce, thank you for the time right now.
Oh, you're welcome.
First thing I wanted to ask is how important in this as an accolade for you?
Oh, this is a big accolade for me. Like I said, I've been waiting 43 years for this, and good things happen to those who wait, and I waited my turn, and it happened.
And one thing I also wanted to ask was, so many stories, so many people have said so many great things about you. So how does it feel to know that you impacted so many people?
Oh, it feels great. You know, I'm glad that I had an influence on so many kids and still have an influence on some of them, you know. I have grandkids and friends and cousins that I'm still trying to work with kids and give them a little bit of that knowledge of what I have.
And then also, of course, you have 14 national records. Do any of those stand out? Do you have a favorite record?
Rebounding, you know, because it takes heart and guts to rebound, you know. It's who want it the most. You know, you got to want it to get rebound. Rebounds just don't fall in your arm. You just have to move around and go get them.
And then to have, of course, some people around you here. The last thing I wanted to ask was, of course, knowing that it's taken some time. How sweet is this?
Oh, it's very sweet. It's sweet. Sweet as apple pie, you know. It's a dream to come true, you know. I've been wanting this for 43 years, and it's finally happened, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to party all night long.
We're going to have so many more stories that we're going to have later on tonight. It was just person after person coming up to talk about Bruce, and we'll have those stories as well as the highlights from Manny. They're taking on Florine right now on the boys and the girls side, so we'll have more from that as well, Doug.
All right, thank you, James. We'll see you then. Educators across the country addressing a growing concern that students could use artificial intelligence to cheat. Districts in Western Washington have focused on one critical thinking bot in particular, ChatGPT, which anyone can access online for free. I really hope no one's kids are watching right now. The bot can compose a 5-paragraph essay, answer complex math problems, and solve chemistry equations. Here's Lauren Donovan.
I think it's definitely a conversation in every school right now. I've been hearing definitely some rumblings and questions from teachers. What do I do if I think that I have students who have been using it?
ChatGPT is free and available online right now. The critical thinking bot says type any question in this box, coding equation, chemistry problem, and I'll answer.
You can ask it to write a short story or an essay or whatever the writing prompt is in a 4th grade voice, let's say.
It might be pretty generic, might be pretty basic, but it's well written.
I could ask ChatGPT to write me a 5-paragraph essay on Pride and Prejudice, and it would do it. But would it get me an A? I sat down with Eastside Catholic's Director of Curriculum, Molly Page, to see.
So we take the prompt and we add the instruction to write an essay, and we can also say with cited quotations, and it will generate an essay.
There it goes. Within 30 seconds, there it was.
These themes are personified by the characters of Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet.
According to Molly, this one wouldn't pass muster. While ChatGPT can choose quotes, it won't always select the right one. And AI just can't replicate the voice of a student. Teachers know.
The chatbot can't look at images or graphs, so it can't engage in any data analysis that's visual.
So is this chatbot the death of the English department?
No, it's not. What I think it's actually really going to do is force a vital conversation around kind of like a stagnation in English.
Caleb Sonnelins in the English department are adjusting curriculum to keep up with it. They're crafting more complex prompts. Because sure, the bot can answer questions, but it can't show mastery on a topic.
I think with anything new, anywhere, especially with technology, people are going to have fear.
It is kind of scary in the sense that we have to adapt to it, but at the same time too, it's like it's going to be for the best.
36 years removed from high school, I could use Cliff Notes. That's about as cheapful as I got. Universal Theme Parks and Resorts opening a new park in North Texas. It will be a kid-themed park with family-friendly experiences and rides involving Universal movies. The park will also include a 300-room family-friendly hotel. Sydney Persing with more details.
Dry grass, cones, litter, and a porta potty. The plot of land off the Dallas North Tollway doesn't look great. But Tuesday, Universal's CEO came to Texas to announce a plan to bring it to life.
A Universal park unlike any other in the world, and we're wildly excited.
Pending committee and council approval, Universal will build its 6th theme park and resort in Frisco. But if you're hoping for a Dr. Doom's Fearfall kind of ride, don't hold your breath.
Everything in this park is really being designed for children under 10. That's our target, our focus right there.
Paige Thompson is Universal's president of New Ventures. In our one-on-one interview, he told me everyone will be welcome at this park, but it will cater to kids, featuring character meet and greets, shows, kid-sized rides, food and drink venues, and a family-friendly hotel.
We've envisioned this park as a regional park, so we expect visitors will come not only from the state of Texas, from outside Texas as well, from all the neighboring states, and that's why we built this 300-room hotel, so that it can turn into a family vacation.
Music.
Thank you for believing in Frisco.
To Mayor Jeff Cheney's ears. With tons of tourism and job creation on the line.
They asked us how fast Frisco can move, and we told them we're used to moving really fast. And so we expect dirt to start moving here sooner than later.
The company, though, won't reveal its actual timetable, and again, still needs planning and zoning approval.
But certainly we've already kind of given them feedback on what we want to see here, what we don't want to see, and the things that we think will bring community support.
All right, so if you got a 1 or 2 year old, they'll get it built before that child is 10. Hurricanes, nothing new to Louisiana residents. We know that all well. One house in South Louisiana has survived most of them since the late 1800s. Dave McNamara takes us there in tonight's Heart of Louisiana.
This old house is on the move again. The first time was 130 years ago. The house was built of cypress timbers by Nikolai Curol for his family at Cheniere Caminada near Grand Isle. That community was wiped out by a hurricane in 1893.
We lost more people in that storm than any storm that ever hit Louisiana. Over 2,000 people died. At Cheniere Caminada, that was for 1893, was a pretty large community of 1,500 people. Half the population died.
Wendell Curol's great ancestors all lived at Cheniere Caminada. His great-great-uncle, Nikolai Curol, built this house.
My great-grandfather survived with his wife. My grandfather was born February 1893. He was one of the few babies to survive.
The Curol house was one of only a few structures that survived the hurricane. Curol moved the family home to higher ground at Cutoff.
It was knocked off its pillars, but the house stayed together. Doors were taken off in the front, but it was still intact. And my understanding is that he took it apart, 3 different loads, brought it up to Cutoff.
But Hurricane Ida in 2021 damaged the old house again. That violent storm ripped off part of the roof.
I've always admired the house. It's been around my whole life. I grew up down here, and it's an awesome house. It's my privilege to bring it back together.
Natalie LaFont, a New Orleans real estate broker, is restoring the old Curol house. The house was cut in half. First, the front portion and later the add-on rear portion were loaded on a trailer and moved a mile away to the rear of the home where LaFont grew up.
As you began to look at the structure and the construction of this house, what were some of the interesting things you noticed and how it was put together?
The architectural elements are outstanding. The beadboard, the French glass, the wavy glass, the doors, the board and batten doors, all of those things are going to be, my objective is to perfectly restore it.
You can still see the square iron nails that originally held this house together. They've worked well. LaFont will mill these cypress logs to replace missing boards.
You ever wonder about, gee, if these walls could talk here?
Oh, definitely. Houses have energy, and the more we prepared it for the move, emptying out the possessions, it's got great energy. It just seemed to get happier and happier as we went along.
And Natalie LaFont plans to share in that happiness. After a total restoration of the old house, she plans to retire here. She'll live in a home that has been a symbol of this community's resilience for well over a century. With the Heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, KSLA News 12.
Guess that makes it the first official ever mobile home, right? It's from the 1800s. A group of high school students used 3D printing technology to give one of their classmates an out-of-this-world helping hand.
Now, KSLA First Alert Weather with meteorologist Austin Evans.
Welcome back. We are cooling off across the Arklatex this evening. Already some places down into the low 40s, but we still have some 50s on the board here. 55 in Florida being our warmest, or Hemphill, excuse me, being our warmest on the map. 54 in Florida, though not too far behind. 50 degrees here in Shreveport. Now, over the next 5 hours, still going to be a bit windy. That wind advisory has expired, and we are going to drop into the mid-40s pretty much across the board by about 10 o'clock. Clear skies are expected overnight as well. Rain chances are on the way. Now, we're looking at Monday for a minor chance for rain. Nothing major is expected that day. Our next weather maker moves in on Wednesday. I've been talking about it a few times this evening, and it looks like we're looking at a widespread thunderstorm situation for Monday. Now, there's a lot of uncertainty still with this. It is nearly a week away. and the timing is still up in the air as well. But long-range future track does show some heavy rain, some thunderstorm-like signatures popping up throughout the day on Wednesday, starting early in the morning, lasting through the entire day, through the entire afternoon. 5 o'clock, we still have some of the heavier rain holding on. Even by 9 o'clock, lighter rain still holding on to our eastern and southeastern parishes here in Louisiana. We will continue to watch this as the severe threat does exist there. We'll let you know and give you the first alert to any details. Looking at your weekend, highs in the upper 50s Saturday, upper 60s on Sunday with a little more cloud cover. We're seeing the cloud cover for today move out of the region. Now, we do have a nice clear night ahead of us and a nice sunny day for the start of Friday the 13th, or a sunny morning, I should say. We'll be in the mid-70s by next week, keeping an eye on Wednesday.
Well, after a month of designing, 3D printing, and making modifications, a team of high school engineering students in Tennessee built a fellow student a prosthetic hand. Claire Copsey has more.
In this classroom, students are creators.
You're supposed to be engineering, coming up with new ideas, solving issues, and just making things better than how they used to be.
The class, called Engineering Design and Development, is where this trio became friends.
I've definitely made most of the memories that I've made here inside this classroom.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Not long into their semester, they added a fourth.
Yeah, I didn't know them, so like I actually got introduced to them by the teacher, and then that's when they started working on it, and I got to be friends with them.
Sergio Perota isn't in their class, but quickly became part of every class period.
Oh, that would be cool. In my first years of school, it was I had a lot of people ask me, like, what's wrong with, like, what happened to my hand? Lots of people. And I used to just say, like, even in kindergarten, I used to say, I was born like that.
He was born with one hand that never fully formed.
How I would work would be like carrying things. I would just carry them like this, or like, if I had a water bottle, I would just carry it like right here. And yeah, that's basically how it would work. For the hand, basically I would like flex this joint and like it would open and close. That's
a way of life that Sergio didn't think much about.
I feel completely normal. Yeah, no issues. I would just write with my left hand and like type with my left hand. It really wasn't that difficult. I got used to it. So like I could do pretty much a lot of stuff, almost everything.
The almost everything is why these students were tasked with building him a prosthetic hand.
I didn't know Sergio when we were going to do this. We were kind of starting from scratch, but we were able to look at some previous designs from offline. And once we started with the idea, it went off from there.
After 4 weeks of designing, 3D printing, and sizing to Sergio's hand, the class put him to the test with a game of catch. A new hobby he never knew was possible.
I never expected this. Living without a hand for 15 years and they actually offered me to is actually pretty cool. No one has ever offered me this stuff. It changed my life. Little gestures with it, like something like this. Feels like I have my other hand, so like that's something I really like to do. Just like put them together like this, which is cool. I actually feel like I have a right hand.
A life changed in a class they'll never forget.
Watching Your Wallet is sponsored by Evans Financial Group, caring financial strategies for the real world.
While the latest numbers show the inflation rate slowing a bit, price increase is still higher than they were this time last year. Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa talks with an expert. 4 ways you can try to fight rising costs in tonight's Watching Your Wallet report.
If tackling higher prices is your goal this year, there are a few ways to minimize the impact and not spend as much. Denitha Doe, the creator of the website Money and Mimosas, has 4 steps to keeping prices in check. And she is someone who believes in being financially responsible, also while not giving up the fun in life. She says step 1 is called mindful spending.
If you're someone that, say, loves to shop and buy clothes, instead of buying new clothes, you can go to sites like The Real Real or Le Tote, which are resale sites, and do your shopping there. You can still be fashionable, but also save some money on your shopping.
She says the second step is to figure out how to get your money to work for you. Invest in yourself. Maybe it's enrolling in a personal finance course or signing up for classes so you can eventually make more money at work. The third step is optimizing your savings account. She says at most traditional big banks, the interest rate is around 0.06%.
Say you have $5,000 in your account. In 5 years, you would have earned $3 on that savings. Whereas if you put it in a high yield savings account, say at a bank like Ally or Lending Club, that interest rate is closer to 2%.
And finally, Denitha Doe says find a way to earn more money. Get a side hustle where you can earn a little more income. Maybe it's renting out a room in your home, renting out your car, becoming an online coach, tutoring. Find a way to boost your income. With this, Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
All right, quick live look, I-20 Hearn Avenue, west side of downtown. When we come back, hey, we're already sniffing the weekend. It's right around the corner. Friday the 13th, tomorrow. Yikes. We'll talk 12-day forecast with Austin next.
And we have a nice day ahead of us tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, but it is going to be cooler with highs in the mid-50s. Looking ahead to Saturday, we warm up into the upper 50s and then the upper 60s on Sunday, but with more cloud cover that day. A minor rain chance on Monday, leading to a very warm week. And then we are keeping an eye on Wednesday, the threat for some thunderstorms that day. And your 12-day forecast showing the 60s and 50s. So maybe a few days. Maybe a few days in the near future, it'll actually feel like a Louisiana winter, and it won't feel like the 80-degree mark we hit yesterday.
Well, at least with the wind, it felt about 10 or 15 degrees colder outside.
It was very windy today.
It was. All right. Don't go far. Enjoy your evening. Join us tonight at 10. Until then, we'll keep you up to date, of course, on the KSLA app.
Stay first aware on the latest news and weather from KSLA News 12 for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV apps. Sponsored by the Arklatex Weekend. Find fun things to do, explore travel and food ideas, and more at arklaTexWeekend.com.